Welcome back, everybody, to episode one. So I'm Ty Backer, your host of Behind the Toolbelt. We have some actually, a special guest tonight, and we will be back after these important messages.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. TC Backer.
Behind the Tool Belt is sponsored by Lead Scout. Find out more at leadscoutapp.com.
Roofers, you want at least 5 solid lead gen tactics building chemistry. Let's say you have door knocking, referral systems, job site branding, and you add in aggressive SEO, paid ads, and boom! Smells like more leads. HookAgency.com.
TC Backer.
And we are back. It looks like we're having issues streaming to Facebook for whatever reason, but we will be live right now if anyone's tuning in on YouTube and a couple other platforms. But we have an awesome guest tonight. We have Justin Hughes with HailTrace. So, Justin, how are you?
Good. Just getting back from a couple different trade shows. We're here live in Denton, Texas, where we are going to have our 2023 hail forecast tomorrow, along with a couple other special guests and our awesome vendors that are out here. But yeah, it's been good. We've been trucking along. We've been hanging out at. We were in Orlando last week, and we're in Denton now, and then we got the IRE and When the Storm coming up. So just preparing for a busy season before we actually get into the bulk of the storm season.
Nice. So what are you doing in Denton?
So every year we have our team of meteorologists that put together a 2023 hail forecast. As much as, people will say weather is not never going to be perfect, people will give their local meteorologists slack all the time when it's 72 and it actually ends up being 70. But we try to look at climatology, different weather patterns, El Nino, La Nina, kind of like just years that we can go from in the past, and we kind of give our best guess on where the most active periods of severe weather are going to be. So that's kind of what we're here for. This year, what is really cool is we're making it more weather focused. We're going to have the National Weather Service out of Dallas. They're going to come give a talk. We're going to have a couple of our meteorologists talk. We'll have our vendors stand up and do their whole thing that you've always seen at shows. So yeah, we're really excited to make this happen tomorrow.
No, that's really cool. And how many times a year do you do this?
So we do it. It kind of depends. Last year we were doing it a lot with Company Cam with Highway to Hail. This year we are only doing one live event, and it's this event tomorrow in Dallas or in Denton. And then we will be doing a virtual one March 3rd. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's March 2nd or 3rd, basically from Facebook. And so you'll be able to catch that forecast if you're not able to see it live here in Denton. I will also probably be presenting it at a few breakouts I have coming up as we get going into the trade show season. So plenty of opportunities, but tomorrow is the big event. And so, yeah, we're really excited. It's always a good event for us. So yeah, it's fun stuff for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I heard you say meteorologist several times. Is that self-proclaimed, or are you guys actually educated in the weather?
So yeah, so our we have 8 degreed meteorologists on staff, and that is kind of what sets us apart from a lot of other companies in our space. Is our meteorologists, like the map behind you, they map and verify these maps that they are producing. And so we've actually partnered with FEMA. FEMA uses our tornado maps now. We map hail, wind, and tornadoes. Our meteorologists are up 24/7, 365 days a year. They, we are the industry standard for a reason because we have the team of meteorologists that basically have been mapping these storms for longer than anybody else in the industry.
Wow, that's amazing. So when you say mapping, what does that mean exactly?
So basically, our radar technology is advanced so far that they can used to only be able to see things that fall out of the sky one way, but now we can measure it vertically and horizontally, so you can actually see how big objects are that are falling. So with that dual pole technology, they're able to look at these storms and basically be able to use a certain radar depiction and be able to say, hey, these are the areas that are getting impacted by large hail, and then they cross-reference that with ground truth reports, pictures, whatever it may be.
Gotcha. Now, why would something like this be so important to FEMA?
So the FEMA, for tornadoes, they strictly use us for tornadoes. We have been working with them basically since the Kentucky tornadoes back in December of 2021, and so map those. We map those tornadoes live, and so anybody else has to go out after the fact and do storm damage surveys. But since we're able to map them live, we are saving them lead time to actually get to those affected areas, and so they know where to deploy and where to get to. Besides politics, our maps actually made it to the Oval Office. Biden was looking at them. We have a really cool picture on our social media of them kind of just looking at our map, and like we're able to basically tell them the red roofs are probably totaled. These were impacted greater than the yellow roofs, and so that's kind of we're basically trying to save them time in the process by sending them these maps live.
Wow, that's amazing. So why wouldn't they use something else or someone else? What makes you guys so unique, or how did you get so unique?
Really, we're so unique because we do map live. That's what sets us apart. The National Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center and all of them do a great job of what they do. And they do have some in-house, they monitor things. They know when there's a tornado on the ground, if it's radar depicted. But we map these storms live. We actually look at radar signatures. We look at traffic data. So if a tornado crosses some interstate, it will actually show up red, so we can kind of see the path that it's taking across the city. Because once a tornado passes through all these streets, it knocks over trees, it knocks over power lines, throws debris everywhere. You can literally look at traffic data and kind of see where a tornado impacted areas.
Okay. So, along with the government using your app, is this something that is available to the general public that they could use?
Yeah, if they wanted to. Normally, when owner calls us, let's say a homeowner is saying that they need a roof replaced and they're wanting let's say they're wanting just an impact report from us. We normally don't charge the homeowner anything. We're really in the contractor, law firm, public adjuster space. FEMA's just kind of been like a new thing for us.
Mhm.
And we love working with them, but our bread and butter is going to be in the restoration industry.
Okay, the restoration industry. So more like roofing and other things like that, or I
Law
guess.
firms, public adjusters, yeah.
Okay. And why would it be important for them to use you guys?
I'm sure a bunch of contractors and law firms and everybody that we work with, they know it's important first off to know a date of loss, and so it's really if you're dealing with getting a date of loss like not approved, and we have it in our database, we can have our like one of our meteorologists, they will do a site specific report on that particular address saying this is the scientific reasons on why that's a date of loss. And then for the big thing on that report is showing that it's done by a degreed meteorologist. And then, going forward, there's marketing. You can click on a swath like the one behind you. You can get every, name of, every homeowner, commercial or residential, whether they're on the do not call list, the square footage of a commercial property, like credit scores. If you're in the PDR industry, we'll give you the vehicles that are registered there. And so really, we just make it easier for you not to be wasting time in areas canvassing or marketing, whether it's Facebook or Google, in areas that were just not impacted by a storm. You want to be able to get out and market and canvas areas that were actually impacted instead of wasting your time in some other areas.
Wow. That does sound like a big, huge tool, especially for a contractor. And I would imagine the southern states. We live up here up in Pennsylvania. So, I mean, we get wind damage, and I would say every 3 to 5 years, we might get a decent hailstorm.
Mm-hmm.
Most recently, we had one down, I would say down along the Eastern Shore, which is the Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia, Delmarva Peninsula there. And I think it's something that we would have probably used, because I know when we went down there, it was tough to identify. Basically, we were flying blind, but it sounds like with this tool, we wouldn't have been flying blind. We'd have been able to get into the areas that was most affected. So I think I like what you're saying, especially for contractors that solely rely on maybe storm damage or storm restoration. I don't know if that sounds like a bad thing or not, but I mean, as an entrepreneur, I think this sounds like a great tool that we could have used, not for just looking for storm damage or the affected areas, but you talked about, being able to find if it's owner occupied, people's information, their address, their phone number, and things like that.
Yep.
Now, tell us more about that side of the technology.
So yeah, I mean, we use a company that just pulls in data. I mean, I wouldn't say, I mean, it's definitely not 100% accurate. If you have a renter at a particular home that, let's say they buy a car and then they register at their home that they live in, but they rent that home. They might be listed as the actual homeowner, but for the most part, it's 75 to 85 or 75 to 80% accurate, I would say. So you can go in and then you can pull those homeowners' informations, and then let's say if you're doing Facebook targeting ads, you can pull all the zip codes that are inside of that particular swath. So then at least you're marketing to the zip codes that are in that swath. So you're not spending extra money to areas that were not impacted. Same with Google Ads. If you're doing mailers, you have an exact list and addresses of people to send it to. And so it helps not only solidify data of losses, it also helps you on the marketing side of things, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's huge. So if I wanted to sign up, do we just simply go onto your Facebook page and then what happens? Is there a button to click? We go on your website. How does that happen?
I mean, really, the easiest way is to go to HailTrace.com or shoot me an email at justin@HailTrace.com. We really like to jump on a demo with you. We have a sales team. Takes 20, 30 minutes. We like to figure out the areas you work, what you really do. We don't want you to be signing up for a package that isn't we don't want you to be paying for too much. Let's say you get on there and you pay for a national plan, but really you only need 2 states. Or you get on there and you don't really need the data. You just really need the maps and the data of losses. So the easiest way is HailTrace.com, or just shoot me an email, Justin@HailTrace.com, and we will get you connected and get you on a demo. That's honestly the easiest way, because we like to be able to walk through that stuff, make sure that plan is actually correct for you. So, like I said, you're not overpaying, you're not underpaying, you're getting the areas that you need. It's just a lot easier to walk through that kind of stuff with you. And we have that team to provide you with that information.
Okay. So you touched on something there a little bit. So you said it's about 80% accurate. How live is it? So if we got a storm yesterday, we'd be able to have access to those impacted areas?
You'd be able to have that. You'd be able to have access to those impacted areas within 5 to 10 minutes of that storm occurring.
Oh, really? Can you tell us more about that? How does that happen?
So we live map. We also have our algorithm maps, which take a little bit longer to actually get on the website because it's done by a computer. They have to go in and do all the different stuff. But our meteorologist maps, which has always been our bread and butter, is they're mapping live, no matter whether it's 2 cows getting hit in South Dakota at 2 a.m. One of our meteorologists is up mapping that. And so they're live mapping. So you can even jump on the website and you can see the app or the maps updating as they're updating it. And so it's live. It's not delayed. There's nothing, like, you can get it immediately once a storm passes. And then once a storm passes, if you're tracking your clients within our software, we will actually send you a list of your past clients that were impacted by the storm. So you know that those clients were impacted, so you can reach out. Because we've learned that a lot of times homeowners don't really realize or remember what roofer did their roof 5 years ago, right?
Mhm.
And so for us, for you to be able to track your clients, that's like the easiest way to get ROI immediately. Like, because let's say it's like an SOS type of situation, like the Norman, Oklahoma storm, where there's baseball size hail flying at 80 miles an hour and blowing out windows, and people needed tarps and windows boarded. Like those homeowners, they're probably going to take the first roofer that shows up at their door because they need that immediately.
Mhm.
So if you are being, if you're tracking them in our software and we send you that notification, hey, here's a list of all the people that you've worked with in the past that were just impacted, you're going to beat any competition that's driving in from anywhere else in the country, or anybody local, even, to be like, hey, remember us? We did your roof 5 years ago. We hope you liked our service. We know that you just were impacted by a large hailstorm. We would love to come out and kind of look at your roof. Reply yes, or whatever it may be. That's a really important key, and I preach that a lot, is being able to track your last clients in our software.
Wow, that is this is kind of mind-boggling, and that's where a lot of these questions are coming from. Because personally, I mean, I've heard of HailTrace for a long time, but never really researched it. And again, because we're up north here,
Mm-hmm.
but like I
Makes
said,
sense.
we do get some storms coming through. So if I would get, is it an app? Is it web-based? Like how convenient is using this product?
So it's an app and it's web based. So we have 2 different options. What you're looking at behind you is a screen grab from I think that it will be of our website. So that will be web based, and then we have an app that basically does all the same functions. When you're out in the field, obviously the app is going to be the easiest, whether you're on your iPhone, Android, iPad, whatever it may be. You can pull up these storms. You can download a quick impact report, which gets to your email address in no more than 30 seconds. And it will show you every date of loss that we have for the last 13 years for that address. So you can show that homeowner, and that is hail and wind. So you can show that homeowner and gain that trust by being like, hey, I'm not here to annoy you. Like here's the weather data history. Like, your roof is 8 years old. You've been impacted X amount of times by hail and wind. And so, you gain that trust immediately whenever you're able to show that to them. So, but yeah, I mean, we're web-based and we have an app. We just launched 4.0, and you know how it goes when you launch a new product. There's a lot of learning curves. I've been going to these conferences for the last few weeks, and the first thing like we get asked about is like, hey, how do I use 4.0? And really, once people get used to it, they're like, oh, that was simple. That was way easier than what I thought. And so, we have both. And so, for current customers out there, you can always reach out, talk to us, figure out how to use 4.0. For the new ones, it'll be no change for you guys. You'll jump on and you'll love 4.0 just as much as we do.
Okay. So what's the difference between 3.0 and 4.0?
Basically, we did a complete UI update. We changed a lot of the ways that you do things, made some things, like how many clicks you get to something. We tried to eliminate, how many clicks it takes to get an instant impact report, how many clicks it takes to pull up a map. We added like a calendar where literally, if you know the date of loss of the storm or the storm that you're looking for, we added a calendar where you can just click on the date and it'll just immediately download that storm for you. So we've added some things that makes it easier, and we've also upgraded our canvassing, the canvassing inside of our app as well.
Okay. So I think you touched on something a little bit earlier, okay, about like dates of the storm. Why would that be important?
Well, for any contractor, public adjuster, or law firm, there are, all right, first off, I want to say that we are a unbiased third party weather company. We are not biased towards any industry. We just want to provide an accurate date of loss. We want to provide an accurate weather report. But saying that, let's say, like you're having issues getting that particular date of loss approved. And so, let's say you pull up a, instant impact report for a home, and let's say the adjuster is saying that, it's not this date, it's another date because it just happens to be outside of the policy period. And, the adjuster firmly believes that that date of loss happened at the date outside of their policy period. And so, we have court ready reports. We have so many different styles of reports when it comes to date of losses, because it's so important in our industry. We're in $1 billion industry. We have, there's a reason why public adjusters are involved. There's a reason why law firms are involved. And there's a reason why homeowners care so much. And we're just really there to give an accurate date of loss or potential date of losses for those particular addresses that they're looking at. We will go to court. Our lead meteorologist gets deposed, and we have to go and we have to represent that date of loss that we presented. And that's just kind of the way it goes. Those date of losses are so important when you're dealing with insurance work. And so that's kind of, why we preach, documentation and making sure that you get those photos, that you have those reports, that you have a meteorologist that backs you and saying, hey, this is a date of loss. We are never going to give you a fake date of loss. If you come to us and say, hey, I need you to just adjust this map a little farther north and make this date of loss this date, we're never going to do that, because we're never going to jeopardize our company. But if that date of loss is there, we will show you the data of why, and we will eventually be deposed in court if it goes that far.
Gotcha. Yeah, that sounds kind of scary on that end of things, but how important is that for the contractor or an attorney or somebody or a public adjuster, I guess, to have that evidence, to compile that evidence before you, propose it to the insurance company or the homeowner, to have all your ducks in a row? It sounds like you guys have really come a long ways in touching all of those pain points that most contractors experience along the way. So what do you think has motivated you guys so much to cover such a wide band of things that this product, provides to us contractors?
Really what motivates us is, first off, we all love, most people that work for us, we all love the weather. And being able to provide, an accurate report. We're here, I'm about to throw a big weather event here in Denton. But for us, we've been around since 2010. And a hailstorm came through Oklahoma City, don't quote me on this, May 10th of 2010, maybe. I might not have that correct. Somewhere in there. Anyways, but someone came to our CEO, Derek, and said, hey, I would love to get a map. As it was a contractor said, hey, I'd love to get a map of kind of where you think the hail happened. And that's kind of when Derek, the light went off, hey, maybe I could hand draw these maps. Derek's not a meteorologist. And then, a few years later, we kind of realized having those meteorologists on staff is so important, because whenever you're dealing with a law firm, whenever you're dealing with going to court or, trying to make these date of losses reasonable, whenever you're getting pushback, it's really, really important for us to have that meteorologist on staff. No one on our staff can actually make a formal report if they're not a degreed meteorologist, because if we get deposed and we have to go to court and that person that made that report wasn't a meteorologist and we can't prove that on paper, then it's immediately thrown out. So, the big thing for us is just being accurate, knowing like our weather. And, you know, we analyze and we go back and we look at things, and we will, you know, criticize if we got something wrong. But the big thing is I've seen our meteorologists do it. If someone comes back and they're saying a date of loss, I will go back into our meteorologist room. One of our meteorologists or two of our meteorologists or even three of our meteorologists, they will all be gathered around a computer, and they will be replaying this radar data saying like, all right, what do we got here? Is this quarter size? Is this golf ball size? Is this, you know, under quarter inch, you know? And so it's crazy the amounts of effort they put into every single report on a daily basis. And I cannot give them enough credit for what they do every single day.
Okay, so wait a minute here. So you can actually tell what size hail hit from your mapping?
Yes. So the map behind you will be, so the yellow is going to be quarter inch to $50. The orange is going to be $50 up to tennis ball. And then the purple is tennis ball to or greater. So, but if you click on that map in our software, we will actually give you a max hail size. So if you click on the purple, just because it's 2.75 inch plus doesn't mean it's going to be 4.5 inch. We'll just say like 2.75 inch isolated. So we try to do our best bets. So, you know, if there's golf ball size hail, but we really feel like most of it was under golf ball size hail, again, we'll put isolated golf balls in there.
Okay.
Just because you don't go into an area thinking all these roofs are going to be completely torn up and windows blown out or whatever it may be. And you know, we honestly try to do our best to give you the best estimate, and we'll also give you wind speed and hail time. So how long it hailed at that location.
Yeah. So how do you do that? Like with the colors, like, is it heat imagery, or how can you tell that from mapping?
So the map, like what's behind you, was literally drawn by meteorologists. They are using live radar data to draw those maps. And not to get too crazy scientific on you, but it's all about, you know, like I was talking about earlier, is the dual pole radars that were released by the US back in 2012. They basically changed the game where you can, you know, literally measure things vertically and horizontally. You can tell where it's snowing and where it's not snowing. So you can see a rain snow line. You can see a tornado debris ball, which is how they map tornadoes. You can see, you know, the objects that are falling. And so the product that they use and like to use the most is correlation coefficient. And that is a product where basically you can see the type of objects that are falling from the sky. There's also another dual pole product that basically they can see melting. Whenever the U.S. rolled out these new radars, it really changed the game for us. And we've been running with that since, you know, the U.S. rolled that out in 2012. It's been a big game changer for us. It's led to extremely more accurate maps. And so on top of accurate maps, we have a team of meteorologists that can create reports for you. And so, you know, that's really like our bread and butter, like I was saying, is our mapping and mapping those storms live, and our meteorologists pouring over that data. And that's really the most important thing for us, is just being that unbiased third party that is going to be able to provide weather reports for people who need them, whether it be FEMA, whether it be contractors, whether it be law firms, whether it be public adjusters, whether it be, you know, Lord forbid insurance companies, you know, like that's our whole goal, is just be a third, you know, an unbiased third party weather company.
Yeah, that's amazing. So we have a couple questions in here. We won't get too far out in the weeds here, but I believe one of the questions in here, and I want to give a couple shout outs before we get into that. I see Tyler out there. I see Tom Golden's in there. Mike Brown's the one. Derek Schaefer. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Roofing Masters Network is out there. Zach Fisher, always thank you. Kim, good to see you. Jan, I love you. Colin Cross, good to see you guys. So Mike Brown, he has a question. Okay. His question is, and I believe he's thinking this is like a Google Earth. Can you, I guess, pull in the street image?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. So we have two different mapping options. You can do hybrid or you can do standard. On the hybrid, you can zoom in. You can see. You can basically see down to every road level there is. With Google Earth imagery, obviously, like what's behind you, let's say there was a neighborhood built here in Denton, I don't know, 6 months ago. It might not have those actual houses there yet, depending on when the last Google imagery was updated. But you can zoom in on street views for sure.
Okay. And what would be the benefit of that?
I mean, basically, you can zoom in as far as you want, and so you'll be able to go in. And I know a lot of people, on top of looking at the actual home value on their, credit score or the house, whatever it may be, a lot of people like to zoom in and kind of see what that roof looks like, what that house looks like. Is that a good size house? And so, it's really beneficial to zoom in and kind of see like what that neighborhood looks like. So they can kind of just check out that neighborhood and be able to really just say, hey, this looks like a good street to be on. And so that's kind of there's multiple different ways, but I would imagine, I've never been a contractor myself, but I would imagine that would probably be a good reason on why you'd want to zoom in that far.
Gotcha. Okay. So somebody also said in there about notifications. So with
Yes.
the notifications, would that mean that hail just struck or hail is on its way?
All right, so we have a couple different notification things that we do. So the day of, we will push out a notification and we will say, hey, we're going to do our forecast. These are the areas that we think are going to be impacted. And then let's say you're in Dallas and there's a big storm rolling this way. And so then we'll go live. We'll go live from our studio. We will tell you the intersections. We will tell you what's coming in. We will tell you what we're thinking. And so when that happens, then we'll send out another notification. Hey, we're about to go live in Dallas. So then we're live in Dallas. Our meteorologists, think about it as like your local like weather report, right? But we geared that towards the restoration industry. We're not gearing it towards the general public. We're gearing it towards the restoration industry. So we're going to tell you intersections that hail is falling or wherever the tornado is. Obviously, if a tornado is going through Dallas, it's a little different dynamic than hail. But that's kind of what we do. And then after the fact, we will send you an update saying, hey, we did a 3-star map. This is the map tail size. This is how many people that were impacted. And then on top of that, if you track your customers inside of our app, we'll send you another email or notification saying, hey, you had 147 assets impacted in tonight's storm. And then we will send you the list of all the homes and names of the ones who were actually impacted.
Gotcha. Okay. So, because when I asked you the question earlier, like what would the general public use this? Because I was thinking more along the lines of like being prepared for the storm to come or even preparing a contractor. So let's talk about that.
I mean, as far as, so to prepare the contractor, I have these talks all the time. Is first off, just having the software, like I can preach all day long about our software and we can get, in so many different talks about tech. Right.
Mhm.
But, just having, this stuff to be ready. Let's say you go out and you are on a roof and the policy, doesn't accept, it's out of its policy time. Right. And so, but you can still mark that customer and then you can still mark that roof. And then we will update you as soon as they are impacted again. So when there is a new data loss, you're the first one to reach out. You're the first one to know you were on that roof. That roof was totaled 3 years ago, but the policy wasn't going to allow it. So then now you have a new date of loss. And so for roofing contractors, there are so many different ways that you can use and utilize our app. It's insane, whether it's before the storm or after the storm. I'm preparing, a breakout session at When the Storm about talking about how you can use our app to prepare for the storm, but also be there after the storm. For, like I said, for the general public, where we're not really, I would never, come to a homeowner and ask them to pay us, $2,000 a year or something crazy, whatever they want for a single report. But for a roofing contractor, being able to track these storms, track your clients, get marketing data, it pays for itself in, if you get one extra roof in a year's time, it literally pays for itself and then some. I mean, I've had people in Delaware tell me they went out and a month after they bought our software, they found 10 different areas and got 12 different homes signed that they would never have had. So, I mean, it's just really being able to adjust, adapt, use technology, and then learn how to use it. I preach this all, I mean, a lot of people will come to me and say, hey, like, I didn't really use your software. And I said, well, did you really try to use it? Whenever they're trying to renew, and they're like, no, I didn't really log in. I'm like, well, that's kind of on you. So, I mean, it's crazy. So, preparing yourself before the storm with technology, whether it's us, whether it's anybody else out there, that's so important. And I think, for an ever evolving, in the last 10 to 15 years, this industry is changing like crazy. So for an ever evolving industry, being prepared with technology before the storm hits is so important.
Yeah, no, it is being prepared. I mean, that's half the battle. There's some good questions coming in here. I'm sorry if I'm all over the place. My first question that I've been asking you were selfish questions, and I'm hoping other people are getting a lot out of this too, I'm sure, because we're seeing a lot of questions up here. So Project Map It has a question. Does that data go into a CRM, or your system have your system automation emails that go out? I'm trying to.
Yeah, I see the question now. Does that?
There it is.
There you go. Okay, so we have the only two-way integration right now that we have is with Job Nimbus. So whenever you update or assign an asset, if you have the integration set up, and once you assign a client in HailTrace, it will be updated in Job Nimbus. If you assign an asset in Job Nimbus, it'll be updated in HailTrace. So that's just a two-way integration. You don't have to do anything. With any other CRM right now, you have to manually extract your clients on Excel, and then you just import them. So I tell a lot of people that use AccuLinks or Job Progress or all the other CRMs that are out there to just set a reminder once or twice a month, and then just have your customer success specialist, which you will have one, you're assigned one with us, send them that Excel sheet, and then they can update those customers for you. So whether we have an integration with a CRM or not, we still have that too. We're still able to make that happen when it comes to tracking clients. And with 4.0, the first quarter, we're just focusing on getting bugs and everything that comes along with launching an update. After that, we're fully focusing on integration. So new CRMs, the Zapier stuff, company cam, like everything that you can ever imagine, we're about to launch and talk about. And so we just have to get through this 4.0 launch.
Yeah, no doubt. No, that's good stuff. So you probably have already mentioned this. So with your app, we can take our previous clients and upload their information into your app.
Yes.
Okay, explain that to me, and why would that be a benefit? Once again, I know you said once before.
Yeah. So tracking your previous clients is probably the quickest way to get ROI, in my opinion, unless there's a big, massive hailstorm that moves through your area. And the biggest reason because of that, especially if you're in the South, especially if you're in Dallas, Oklahoma City, Omaha, Minneapolis, Denver, everyone knows they're storm chasers out there. So whenever you're tracking your past clients, I mean, we've done polls and stuff. A lot of homeowners don't remember who did their roof 5 to 10 years ago, right? And so whenever you're able to get updated on those clients that you worked with 5 to 10 years ago, and you're able to come to them and be the first one to be like, maybe they were out of town, maybe it's they're in Minneapolis, and they were in Florida for vacation because they finally got out of the snow and they got their first big hailstorm in May or something, and they didn't even know their house was impacted. But, so being able to reach out and say, hey, we would love to come by, inspect your roof for free. We know you're impacted by, this size of hail. We did your roof X amount of years ago. We hope that you loved us. Hopefully you did a good job. Hopefully they want you to come back out. But it's really easy just to eliminate the fact that, maybe another roofing contractor, whether it's local or whether it's a massive storm, and you got, roofing contractors coming in from all over the country trying to eat up that market. Like, either way, it is honestly the best way to get ROI. because you will be the first on the scene. You'll be the first to reach out, and you will be the first to remind them that you did their roof back in 2014 or whatever it may be.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. So what other apps or technology do you guys partner with or integrate with?
Right now we do, we basically integrate with some canvassing apps. So we do Spotio, we do Canvas, and then we also do Sales Rabbit. But in the coming, hope in the next couple of quarters, we are, planning on doing Company Cam. We're trying to figure out something with AccuLink. That's another big CRM in our industry. We have Eagle View. We have a bunch of measurements companies that we're trying to figure out stuff with. And we just integrated with One Click Code. If you're not familiar with One Click Code, they will give you exact codes for that jurisdiction, and you'll be able to actually click on that home inside of HailTrace and know whether they have ice and water shield, or, like all of that stuff that goes along with those certain codes in different areas. So that was something that we were really excited about, being able to have HailTrace and be able to click on a home and be able to get those codes from One Click Code. They're actually the only company that does that. And so we were really, really excited to actually get that done with them with our new 4.0 launch.
Yeah, because as we're talking about these things, I'm good friends with Steven over at Project Map It. I thought, man, that would be kind of a cool integration with him and what he does. And then another one that came to mind was Lead Scout. So
yes,
Lead Scout, just go ahead and talk about that. I feel like you wanted to.
Okay, so I was actually introduced to Lead Scout by actually the Rhino team. Jeff and Blake and Sarah and all of them. They kind of actually told me before I got to the roofing process conference, because I had a little call with them before that date, and they kind of filled me in a little bit about Lead Scout. And so for us, what something like that would look like would be basically you could click on, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this would be a good solution, would be able to click on a swath, know those homeowners, and then just send those homeowners straight over to Lead Scout, and then they send out everything from there without the contractor having to do anything, or law firm or whatever it may be. That would be probably my biggest guess on how we could work together with Lead Scout. So, but yeah, I mean, I was on the phone with them. I was talking to them about some other things that we have in the works, and they're like, oh, you should look into Lead Scout. And then I kind of looked into to what they did, and then we talked in Orlando, and I kind of talked to some of them there, and I was like, oh well, shit, this would be I feel like this would be like this would be an actual great thing to do. So
yeah, I think so too, because we use Lead Scout. We're a huge fan of those guys. Obviously,
yeah.
when we saw you, we kind of shared a booth with them at Roofing Process, and
I saw it. Yeah.
We get huge results. Of course, every contractor is always trying to find that silver bullet, that silver lining of how can we generate more leads? How can we bring in more business? How can we keep the food on the table for our team, right? And especially right now, it's kind of like, and I'm sitting here, spinning through my mind right now how we could maybe not necessarily integrate Lead Scout with HailTrace, but how could we use the two tools together to find that silver bullet, that silver lining, and get ourselves out there for that that branding, that marketing, and the information that we would capture from you guys, and then the tools, the direct, whether it be the direct mail or the canvassing portion of the app at Lead Scout.
I mean, I don't think an integration is out of the question. I mean, obviously, there's multiple things we could do with that. I mean, whether it, just our customers sending that list from that map behind you to Lead Scout to send out to their clients, whether it be clicking on a map and there being a button saying, hey, let's go ahead and send this list over to Lead Scout, so the contractor doesn't even have to do anything. Yeah. I mean, there's so many opportunities. And so we can definitely talk going forward. And, again, like I was just introduced to you guys in the last month which is crazy because it seems like you guys have such a big following, but or they do, and so it's definitely something that I would never shy away from, and we could definitely love to figure something out, see how we could work together, making things uh less complicated is what we're all about, and partnering with people who have that same vision, have the same you know vision, like I said, as we do, as just being able to go out there, provide these tools, give contractors an easier way, or law firms, whatever it may be, easier tools, easier ways to make money. I mean,
Mhm.
and not to mention, we always want to help the homeowner. We always want to help the commercial property owner, whatever it may be. We're in an industry where we get where we can actually impact lives. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, for real, for real. So we're about 45 minutes into this, and typically the name of the podcast that we're on right now is called Behind the Tool Belt, and a lot of times we like to touch on, you know, some personal stuff, some background stuff, like how you got here, what it was like, what it's like now, and really how you got here. So one of my personal questions is for you, because obviously you're traveling a lot and you're highly motivated, have a lot of energy. So what do you do to continue, having that juice in your legs to keep pushing forward and trying to change the industry?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a lot. Derek, our CEO, he's stepped away from traveling now, so it's you're stuck with me going forward. Sorry, but for me, I really, really love. I mean, I have a dinner scheduled here in an hour, and for me, it's calling, and getting all of my friends in the industry together, and Jen Silver is going to be here. We got Beacon, we got Company Cam. We have and just going to like dinners that aren't that are at trade shows or at our events, but really just connecting with those people behind the scenes, because a lot of those people, like, those are the people that I spend time with so much, definitely during this time of year. They see me when I'm sad or stressed or have anxiety, and I talk to them. Those are my friends. They're not just people that I want to connect with, like, just for work. And so for me, like, that's what gets me excited, is not only coming to these shows and seeing our customers and seeing and doing all the still cool stuff and getting taken out and wine and dine. It's really just like sitting down and being able to connect with like my actual friends in this industry. This industry is so important to me. My friends in this industry are so important to me. Making new friends like with you is so important to me. That's kind of what makes what keeps me going, honestly.
Yeah. No, and that's a great answer, because over the past couple of months, we've been traveling a lot, and there's been
Yep.
a lot of new relationships that have been developed, and some old ones that have been, whether reignited or whatever, right? And
Yep.
it's funny because when you come home, you miss it, even though it's
Yeah.
long hours, you're traveling, you're away from your family. Things just don't seem right. Like I'm ready to go back out on the road. And don't get me wrong, I finally convinced Jana for the next 3 stops that we have is to come with me. And Jana, by the way, is my wife. And there always seems to be a little something missing when I'm on the road, and that's
Yeah.
probably because she's not there with me. But the friendships and partnerships that we have developed while being on the road and being around like-minded people, and I'm not stating that's not here. I don't get that here at
Yeah.
the shop or in our area, but it's just different because you are part of this new generation of people trying to leave the roofing industry better than where we found it, right? Like you were
Yeah.
talking about, like the Jen Silvers of the world, and a couple of the other people that I'm assuming you're going to dinner with either tonight
Mhm.
or you'll see them tomorrow at your event. And Jen's become a good friend of ours as well. We've done a couple things, partnered up with her at a couple of her shows and stuff like that she was putting on, and she's definitely a trailblazer. And it's like you're surrounding yourself around these pioneers, and then it's funny because of what we're doing right now. We've been doing this for 3 years, and it's like there was no rules, right? There
Yeah.
was no guidelines, there was no book, there was no YouTube channel that we could possibly go on that stated how to do what we do, and we just kind of do it, and we try, and Vic and I talked about this earlier. It's kind of like, it's not even fail forwarding. People talk about, failure is not an option, or you fail forward. No, it's been a learning curve, with a sprinkle of growing pains in it, whether it be the TC backer, whether it be behind the tool belt, or whatever else that we get involved with. But it's because of those people we have surrounded ourselves around at these events, the true innovators, the true pioneers. You just don't get that unless you step outside your comfort zone and do the things that you're doing, because it would be so much easier for you to get prepared for tomorrow. Just go to your room, get prepared for tomorrow, but you're taking time out of your night to be around these people that inspire you. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, and I would agree with that 100%. Like you're saying, Jen, she, I met her about a year ago, and now she calls me. Like, I talked to her for an hour on the phone last night, not just about like work stuff, just about like personal life stuff. And being able to, like you said, it's weird when you're on the road and you're going to these dinners and you're seeing these people on the trade show floor. And I'll be the first to say it. I have bad anxiety when I'm just sitting at home. I'm a single guy, like, and for me, like, I have my own struggles. And so, but as soon as I walk right onto that trade show floor and everybody's like, "Oh, what's up, Justin?" Like, I feel right back in my comfort zone. And so, it's not only am I here to like sell HailTrace or present things and talk about weather. Like, it's definitely a community, and if you find the right people inside this community, it can go a long way. It can go a long way for knowledge, and go a long way for personal support, and go a long way for work support. And I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, man, it's the fellowship and camaraderie
For sure.
that we find when we're on the road like that. And it's funny because I guess a lot of people probably have no idea what we're talking about, because a lot of people don't get the
Yeah.
opportunity to experience what we experience. But it's true, because the first couple that you do, it's kind of like, oh, you feel out of place. But now it's kind of like you said, once you hit that trade show floor, that's cool. But what's even cooler is the dinners after it. That's where you
Yeah,
get the real golden nuggets, right? That's
for
that's
sure.
where you find that true friendship. And we talk about, partnerships are today's currency
Hmm.
today. So whether it be knowledge currency, not necessarily a financial currency. I'm not talking about like a monetary, I'm talking about like that bond, being surrounding yourself around like-minded people and bouncing ideas off of them, that they don't think you're crazy, that if you talk to a normal person on the street, may not understand the conversations that you're having with these other people. And I'm not saying that they have a better IQ or anything like that, but it's just the industry and the things, because there's a lot of new cool things happening right now, whether it be from Roofer, whether it be from Roofle, whether, they're hitting the e-commerce, and Roofer's got a bunch of amazing things. I heard through the grapevine that they're getting ready to launch. Roofle's doing amazing things.
Hmm.
HailTrace is doing amazing things. I knew you guys were awesome, and it's giving me goosebumps because I didn't know how fucking cool you guys really were. Like this technology that you guys have, it's not just like a surface level, hey, it's kind of cool, it's just a map where hail went through 6 months ago. Like, this is
No.
real time hail size, and then the data that it's not only tracking, but the data that it can keep,
Yeah.
right? Like, you're
Yeah.
covering all aspects of things that were my
Yeah.
questions, and every question that I asked you, you answered, and I was assuming the answers to that. But I mean, you guys have really, how long have you guys been doing HailTrace?
So we started initially back whenever I was telling you that storm back in Oklahoma City. It was May 10th ish, 13th, somewhere in there. Derek will probably get pissed that I don't actually know the actual date, but it was May of 2010.
Oh, wow.
And I was actually his first hire. And then I left to go work for another weather company for 6 years. And then I just came back working, or not just came back. I've been back for well over 2 years now. And he goes, he told me, hey, I feel like you would be really good at this position. You can talk about weather, you're good with people, your technology. Like, I feel like you're going to love this job. So he got me to come back, and I've been, back since then. But yeah, we've been around for nearly almost 13 years now. So
Yeah, I can tell. I could tell that this isn't just like a yesterday startup. This is definitely a solid app that if any contractor, even us up here in the north, could use just so much more than just the maps, but the information, the data that you guys collect on homeowners, owner occupied. I'm assuming you can identify if it's owner occupied,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because these are all the things that are going through my head, how we could use it. So not only for just storm, and not to get back onto this topic again, but I'm very intrigued, and I'm sure, and I can see from everybody commenting in here, like Mike Brown, what we were just talking about, like how cool this is an understatement, right? And Vic is like, yeah, this is freaking cool. And I didn't realize how cool it is. And I'm really grateful that I have met you.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that you could be one of those dudes that we have dinners with, right?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
You become that guy that
For sure.
becomes a part of your circle, right? There's this
Yeah.
circle of people that at every trade show, and here lately for us, it's been, Mike Goldstein and Travis Harvego with Roofle. Regardless if we use it, we don't even use those guys, right? But we've developed such a great relationship, and the conversations that we have, and Mike with his shingle with GAF background and those things
Yeah, I
like
love
that.
Mike.
And they're so
Yeah.
open
Yeah.
to conversations and any questions that we have. It just has taken me to a whole nother level of the way that I think, and able to see that there's much more out there than in my little world here right now. So anyhow, I know you got a dinner tonight. I don't want to hold you hostage for very much longer. And this is
Oh, you're good, man. It's not too late, so you're good.
okay, probably been the longest podcast you've ever been on. We typically run 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes.
No, I
depending
loved
on-
it. Loved it.
Cool,
I mean, and what's funny is I see Mike's comment about changes in our industry, about technology. And just real quick before we jump off here,
Hey,
I was actually sitting at the bar with Josh from my roofing and one of my sales guys, and we I don't know, 2 hours ago we just had a 45-minute talk about how technology is basically changing the industry. And if you know how to use it, if you know the right ones to do, if you know those knowledge bases, like it will change your business. And I think that's like the biggest thing that we all have to realize. It's crazy. I mean, I don't want to come on here and talk about HailTrace and sell it. I want to come in here and give people knowledge and talk about everybody else in our industry. Like you were saying, like, we'll be going to dinners, like we'll be able to, talk about all that stuff going forward, but really just dropping knowledge about how our industry is changing is what like all these podcasts are all about.
Mhm.
And I've this hour has flown by. And so, I've really enjoyed it, and I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man, for sure. For sure. And I look forward to running into you again. Will you guys be at IRE?
We will be at IRE. We will be at Win the Storm, and then we'll be at the FRSA. So we'll be all over the place here in the next few months. But yeah, we will be there.
That's awesome. We'll be at IRE, and also we will be at Win the Storm. So I look forward to our new relationship that will develop. Hopefully, the moment I met you, I thought, this guy's a cool dude, man, and you're definitely in a different area of technology that I'm not really familiar with. So it
Yep.
interests me a lot. So I definitely want to hear a lot more about it off the
For sure.
mic and
Yeah,
a little
let's
more
make it happen.
behind. Yeah, a little more behind the scenes. So let's set up a dinner, either at IRE or Win the Storm or both, because it's several
Okay,
different
yeah.
nights.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you coming on the show. And this has been a wonderful episode. I appreciate everybody commenting on here. I appreciate all of our viewers. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and also our Facebook page, Behind the Toolbelt. We will tune in for, I think next week we're still back in the studio for episode 167, but the week after that we'll be at IRE. Then the week after that we'll be coming to you live from Win the Storm. Then we'll be coming live to you from the GAF Wealth Builders. So you guys, I love you guys. Justin, it's been a blast. You guys have a good night. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Hey, Ty, thanks so much for having me, buddy. I'll see you soon.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.